And I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development.
The OECD is pleased to have had the opportunity to contribute to the pre-zero draft, and we very much welcome the work of the co-chairs. The OECD very much welcomes the fact that the current draft acknowledges the context of increased global interdependence, which requires intensified international cooperation, the key enabling and coordinating role of national governments, the importance of good governance principles for efficient risk management policies, as well as the effectiveness of peer-reviewed processes as a tool for policy improvement. We think that this offers new avenues for the post-2015 framework for disaster risk reduction, reflecting the urgent need for a more holistic approach where the economic understanding of risk, its consequences, the role and strategies of government as a key actor together with other stakeholders are brought together to build the conditions for inclusive and sustainable growth. Let me now articulate a few elements according to the 4 priority areas. In relation to the first priority area on understanding risk, the OECD, through its recommendation on the governance of critical risks, which was adopted in the context of our Ministerial Council meeting under the chairmanship of Prime Minister Abe of Japan in May 2014, this recommendation advises building preparedness through foresight analysis, risk assessment, and financing frameworks. We think that this part of the pre-zero draft could benefit from additional emphasis on the need to adopt all hazard approaches to risk assessment, to develop national risk assessment to help inform and prioritize risk, disaster risk reduction efforts, emergency management capabilities, and the design of financial protection strategies. We also think that there would be greater value in accounting for public expenditures in disaster risk management, as a worth of prevention is, a pound of prevention is usually more worth than the cure. In terms of the second area, strengthening governance and institutions to manage disaster risk, we very much welcome the emphasis on the governance aspects, which is also in line with our recommendation on the governance of critical risks. We also recommend demonstrating transparency and accountability in risk-related decision-making by incorporating good governance practices and continuously learning from experience. We think that, given the importance of such matters, these aspects could even be brought to the fore as a first priority in the context of the draft. The OECD also stands ready to offer its long-standing experience to support the peer reviews as an efficient mechanism for policy improvement, as was demonstrated through our successful collaboration with the UNICEF and the European Commission in recent peer reviews of the HFA framework in the United Kingdom and Finland. In terms of the third priority, investing economic, social, cultural, and environmental resilience, we think that it is important to raise risk awareness, to mobilize households, businesses, and international stakeholders, and to foster investment in risk prevention and mitigation. While the zero draft highlights a series of resilience measures which can be taken by government, we think that there should be a benefit to have a clearer focus on the need to allocate resources strategically through cost-benefit analysis across the mix of structural and non-structural measures and the full country portfolio. We also think that the need of whole-of-society effort in investing in resilience measures could be better acknowledged by making express mention of the need to strengthen business continuity to limit the damages and the economic cost of disasters. Finally, in relation to the last priority on enhancing preparedness for effective response and building back better in recovery and reconstruction, the OECD recommendation calls for developing risk-adaptive capacity in crisis management by better coordinating resources across government, its agencies, and border networks to support decision-making, communication, and emergency response. It also recommends planning for contingent liabilities within clear public finance frameworks by enhancing efforts to minimize the disruptive impacts on public finances and to build institutional capacity to design and oversee recovery and reconstruction. The Zero draft mentions the basics of disaster preparedness, but could benefit from a clearer focus on the need for better interagency coordination, scaling up capacities from national to local level, public-private partnerships, crisis leaderships that all have proven to be essential in recent disaster events to reduce the impacts and maintain public trust, especially for unexpected large-scale risks. Finally, the OECD stands ready to assist in the implementation of the new framework and follow-up, supporting countries and the wider international community in the implementation of best practices in the governance and management of risks through policy analysis, peer review and exchange of best practice and cross-country benchmarking. It stands ready to share the good practices and lessons learned for the benefits of the broader international community. And we very much look forward to the Sendai Conference in 2015 and are grateful to Japan for hosting this major event. Thank you very much.
I thank the distinguished representative from the OECD